Okay, so let's begin. Across history, moments of great change have called for great leadership. Today, we stand at one of those moments. Generative AI is reshaping our economies, our societies, and our ways of life. And the Caribbean must lead with wisdom, courage, and vision. Over the years, we have been guided by giants. Our global ambassador, Professor Bob Garrett, Professor Mervyn King, Professor Charlotte Vallet, Nandi Mandela, and Professor John Elkington. As generative AI reshapes our world, governance must not just adapt, it must lead. We are thrilled to welcome Fatima Abu Salem of the University of Beirut, our keynote speaker, as we feature a week of powerful conversations, fresh ideas, and collective action. Over 5 days, more than 50 Caribbean leaders will join forces to adapt, to change, and to shape it. To build governance that is ethical, resilient, and deeply human. We thank our sponsors for standing with us on this journey. Governance Week 2025, Governance in the Age of Generative AI. Good morning and welcome to the final day of Governance Week 2025, our biggest event for the year as we bring together the largest gathering of leaders in the Caribbean to discuss many of the issues involving corporate governance. I'm Kamala Ramprasad da Silva, Chief Executive Officer of the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute. As we enter this last day of conference, I continue to be so thankful for the response to Governance Week, the support of our sponsors, and the willingness of over 50 of our business leaders to share their time and expertise as we discuss topics that are critical in today's world. As we have been doing all week, we are live streaming the start of today's session on our YouTube channel and also sharing it on our LinkedIn and Facebook pages. So hello to everyone who has joined us via the live stream. And thank you very much to Warren Anderson from Innate Talent Management for his outstanding support, and who, I want to add, created the beautiful video that we've been using for the opening of Governance Week this week. So thank you, Warren, who has been managing our live stream. I also would like to recognize our CCGI team, our business operations and governance assistants, who have been doing extremely well in their support for this week's conference. So thank you, Laura Sinanan, Jacqueline Deshaussee, Quentrell De Silva, and Monique Romano for your hard work. To those of you who may be joining us for the first time today, I would like to share that the Caribbean Corporate Governance Institute is a nonprofit membership organization which was established in 2012. And we welcome everyone who wishes to join us in our purpose of improving corporate governance practices in the Caribbean region. We host over 50 events for the year, comprising of workshops, panel discussions, and conferences. Today, our membership includes persons from Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia, Guyana, Belize, the British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. There are lots of benefits to being part of a vibrant organization like ours, including benefiting from discounts to our training programs. At this point, I want to say a very special thank you again to our sponsors for Governance Week 2025. Our platinum sponsor, Massey Holdings. Our 2 silver sponsors, First Citizens Bank of Trinidad and Tobago and Trident Trust Limited from the British Virgin Islands. We have 6 bronze sponsors this year, Angostura Holdings, Republic Bank Limited, PwC Trinidad and Tobago, G.A. Rowe & Sons from Belize, and 2 new sponsors this year, InfoLink Services Limited and B-Mobile from Trinidad and Tobago. In this, our 6th year, we have been focusing on the critical theme of governance in the age of generative AI. And each of the last 4 days have been extremely successful, including, of course, our opening ceremony on Sunday with Fatima Abu Salem, who gave us an excellent start on Sunday. And as I had said yesterday too, the energy in the room this last week has been incredible, as we have identified not only the opportunities, but also many of the challenges facing us in the region as we grapple with the impact of generative AI. Our opening presenters this last week has been Eldon Marks from Guyana on Monday, Ricardo Allen from Jamaica on Tuesday, Javed Sajad from Trinidad and Tobago on Wednesday, and Daniela Richardson from Station Sabre yesterday. Our opening presenter today is Patricia Roseal from Barbados. I will introduce Patricia in a little bit as we turn our focus today on the governance of groups and conglomerates. And I do expect that we will continue to have really excellent discourse today. But before we come to that, I'd like to briefly share on some upcoming events and workshops. We have a new workshop we are putting together. It's called Protecting Your Rights as a Director. And this is focused on the challenges with the cross-registration system, which has been an important development here in the region, but which continues to pose some difficulties. So we are asking our directors in particular, please ensure that you attend so you understand the implications with cross-registration. From red flags to resilience, reinventing financial sector governance is a two-day physical workshop which will be facilitated by Claire Gomez Miller and will be hosted in Guyana in mid-August, as our team would be in Guyana for an in-house workshop requested by one of the banks. We also plan to host a three-day residential workshop in Trinidad and Tobago in November entitled Excellence in Corporate Governance, Principles, Practices, and Performance. We encourage boards to attend so that their directors may sit together and have a deep dive in not just understanding the principles of corporate governance, but take the opportunity to review its practical application via your board committees, board charters, and the way in which you provide oversight to build a sustainable organization. In terms of our online workshops, Howard Dutton will conduct financial stewardship for non-finance directors and officers on July 23rd. And on August 7th, we bring our Role of the Board series to an end with Dr. Chris Pierce from the UK, who will be taking us through how a good board is run. On September 17th, Faye Lopez Colimo will be conducting a workshop on drafting minutes and other corporate documents for corporate secretaries. Our modules in corporate governance is scheduled to run during the month of October. And in the first week of November, we will be hosting our 6th annual Global Conference on Corporate Governance. All of these are online, so you can easily participate. We bring the year to an end with some physical events, though. We have the three-day residential workshop, which would be followed immediately by the meeting of our corporate secretaries network, and then our fun networking event, which will be held in Trinidad and Tobago after a very successful stint in Guyana last year. I would also like to share that we are preparing our inaugural publication of CCGI's Constellation, a collector's edition publication that would highlight the people and companies in the CCGI network. This publication will give us the history of CCGI and illuminate and celebrate those who have contributed to our growth and development over the years. We expect to launch this publication at our end-of-year networking event in November. We have already sent you information with our very competitive rates for advertisements and advertorials. So if you wish to be featured, please do contact us. And if you are not yet a member, do consider joining us and actively contribute to the conversation on how we can improve leadership and governance to achieve sustainable outcomes. Persons may join us as individual members, or your companies may choose to pay for bundle membership, which can cover from 6 to 12 persons. And now I would like to make some very brief housekeeping announcements. Firstly, please ensure that your full name is captured on your screen. And this is because we are in a virtual room together. This is not a webinar. So it means everyone can easily access everyone else in the room. So we need to ensure that you are easily identifiable. We also ask everyone to keep their microphones on mute throughout the session. So this will minimize any disruptive noises in your backgrounds. If you're invited to speak, please make your contribution very brief and then mute your microphone again as soon as you are done. Finally, we put a survey link at the end of each session. Please take the time to give us your feedback because it really helps in our planning to make sure we meet your expectation. Now, I want to set the tone for today's conversation as I have done in the previous days of Governance Week. I'm going to share a very sobering conversation between Mo Goddard, the former Chief Business Officer of Google X, and an AI named Trixie. Mo Goddard asked about rogue AI and risks for enterprises. Trixie's response was that the likelihood of harm from AI is high. Not necessarily in a killer robots take over the world kind of way, but more in the sense that AI is a tool of immense power and that power is almost always abused before it is properly regulated or understood. Further, Trixie added that there's an 80% chance AI will cause significant harm due to misuse by powerful entities, and a 10 to 20% chance of existential risk from misaligned AI goals. The real danger, according to Trixie, isn't AI itself, but human greed, short-sightedness, and lack of ethical oversight. And so this is why our discussions this week has been so important. We need to ensure that we understand this changing environment so we can be prepared for this changed world. Generative AI is here. It is brilliant, and we can harness it for good or for bad. And I want to end this part by echoing the sentiment from Dr. Dion Chamberlain Miranda, who spoke at one of our panels, when she said what we need to do is look at how we embrace AI thoughtfully. Right. So now it is with pleasure that I invite our speaker this morning. As usual, for each of our days, she would be followed by 3 panel discussions. Each of you would have received a copy of our agenda. Actually, let me say that we have added a speaker to our final panel for today. And therefore, Laura, let's put the updated agenda in the chat so that all of our participants will be able to get that updated information. So I will be doing just a brief introduction of our presenter since her detailed bio would be in the agenda sent to you, okay? And Quentra, let's bring up Patricia now so I can do the introduction. So Patricia, if your camera is on, we are ready to introduce you. Patricia Rosil is a seasoned risk management and cybersecurity expert with over 20 years of experience in internal audit, IT risk management, governance, and compliance. As a former Chief Information Security Officer at CIBC Caribbean, she led transformative initiatives, including a multi-year cybersecurity program and the establishment of a comprehensive third-party risk assessment framework. Patricia's leadership has been instrumental in optimizing multi-million-dollar budgets, strengthening regulatory compliance, and enhancing operational resilience in dynamic environments. Committed to professional and community development, Patricia is affiliated with global organizations such as the Institute of Internal Auditors and ISACA. She has also served as a voluntary instructor and committee leader, contributing to the growth of her profession. Her career reflects a dedication to building secure, efficient, and compliant systems that support long-term organizational success. So, Patricia, it is with great pleasure that I hand over this morning's presentation to you.
Thank you, Kamala. Good morning to everybody on the call. So today we are going to, and I need to share my screen before I go any further. Let me do that. Um, yep, I am coming up. Yes, okay. So today we are looking at how conglomerates or groups can leverage AI for predictive analysis. And we will look at it, we will go through some brief definitions of what is a conglomerate, what is predictive analysis, and what is risk management. And then we will look at how AI can be interwoven into the space. So a conglomerate is a large multi-industry company, and it normally consists of several business units that are different and unrelated. It tends to have a hierarchical structure where you have a parent, and this parent owns and controls many subsidiaries, which are legally independent, but you find that financially and strategically, from a policy perspective, they're dependent on that parent. They tend to be very large and regional, even, they're global, but I'm going to stick to regional presence, and the portfolio tend to vary across products and services. So with that broad definition of a conglomerate or a group, there I pick a few, and I know we have persons from all over the Caribbean here, but I just pick up the ones that came to my mind, and I did that deliberately. I mean I didn't go and search, just the ones that I know um were listed here. And we have Massey Group from Trinidad, we have Sagicor from Barbados, Goddard's from Barbados, Anson McCall from Trinidad, and Grace Kennedy from Jamaica. And there's just a few that we know. So when we're discussing our the risk management perspective and how it's interwoven with AI, we can think of what would it look like in one of these larger companies here in the Caribbean. So what is predictive analytics? Well, predictive analytics is the use of data to predict the future in terms of trends and events. And it is based on the analysis of vast amount of historical data and the scenarios that you can look at. And by doing this, you're able to forecast potential possibilities, scenarios, and this can help you in your decision making. And the predictions could be what we call near future. So it could be like, okay, something that's going to happen within the next couple of days, next couple of hours. So we have something like machinery or system malfunction can be predicted from the data, depending on the data that you have. Or it can be something that goes a little bit more into the future. And that could be something like predicting companies' cash flow or similar type activity. It can be done manually or it can be done using machine learning algorithms. So when I say manually, I don't mean like somebody with a piece of paper going through adding up and subtracting. And you can probably use something like Excel or Power BI, which are basic tools in this space. And that is what I consider manual. But or you can use machine learning, which is a little bit more automated and advanced. So predictive analytics now, and when we couple that with AI, so it involves using statistical analysis and machine learning. And what are we trying to get at there? We're looking for patterns in the data. We're looking for behaviors. And based on the patterns and the behaviors that we're seeing within the data, we can forecast upcoming events. So organizations can use this to predict, as I said before, potential future outcomes, as well as risk exposure. And we'll see a little bit more about that as we go into the presentation. One thing that we must remember is it is really the analysis of vast amount of data to predict potential risks before they occur. And if just if you can think of it, if you can predict a particular risk occurrence, then you can stop it. You can be proactive in how you deal with that. So that's some of the benefits that we would see coming out as we go on. So that is just a little bit discussion on what is a conglomerate, what is predictive analysis, and then we look at risk management, and then we put all three of them together. So risk management is the practice of identifying, assessing, and managing potential threats. And I have all opportunities in brackets because it's not always a threat. In some cases, there could be opportunities that can be exploited. And it's really the threat to organization's objectives. Whatever the organization objectives are, we're looking at what can prevent this organization from achieving this objective.